Welcome. I'm told I need to stand here if it's going to be recorded, which is really annoying because I've got a big screen in front of me and I can't. I'm little.
Too short. That's the last one.
I'm really little. Anyway, right, we have got about 35 minutes to talk about building the future of cyber with neurodiversity in mind. With that said, we use Slido. So if anybody wants to join us on Slido, okay, we have a code. I'm pretty sure that's a code of some kind. Okay, yeah?
Is it working?
Who knows? I've done that already, people, because I have an NSC token behind my little card here. And the amount of people that say, yeah, okay. And I press it in front of them and they go, oh, what website have I just gone on to? Social engineering? Just saying. Okay, so Slido code is there. It will come up as we move through. And there is a question that I will pose, which is what does neurodiversity mean to you? As we go through, that will build a word cloud. If you want to join in, you can. If you don't, that's totally fine as well. Okay? But before I go too much further, I think we need to make an introduction, don't we, Emily?
Yeah, why not?
There we go. Who are we? So who are we to come and talk to you? My name is Lucy. I'm Lucy Smith. I'm the founder of an organisation called Inclusive Change. At Inclusive Change, we talk about building the future of work with neurodiversity in mind. I talk about neurodiversity every day, all day, even at home. My kids are fed up with it and they're autistic. Okay? And my husband printed these lovely cassette tapes. So if anybody wants a fiddle, we can pass them around.
Oh, a lot of people have.
Got them already? There we go. So even my husband gets bored of it. But anyway, we talk about building the future of work with neurodiversity in mind. Today, we're going to apply that to cyber. And I'm going to ask Emily to introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Emily. I've been working with Inclusive Change since about 6 months ago now. I am a recent graduate of University of Bath, mature, as you may tell. Definitely not the same age as the other people in my class. And this was my first job coming out of uni. This is just the best. I studied applied computing. I got first class honours. Thank you very much. Thank you. I suspect I'm slightly neurodivergent. I've never been diagnosed, but I seem to fit in quite well with all the other neurodivergent people in our company. So say that what you will. But yes, I'm here to... Stay with me. I've never done anything like this before. I have notes.
This is Emily's first time public speaking. It's not mine. I don't know if you can tell. But yes, round of applause for Emily. Okay. When I talk about neurodiversity, I come at it from different levels, depending on who I'm talking to. But usually in a group like this, I talk about a word called perspective. And I quite often ask people, what's your perspective on neurodiversity? Okay? Because people will have different perspectives. And one of those can be, I know nothing. I'm just here to soak it up and find out what this is all about. And another one can be, I'm autistic, or I have ADHD, or I'm autistic and I have ADHD. So everybody will have different perspectives. And asking a question in that way means that I get lots of different answers and people feel safer about me instead of me going, hey, have you got ADHD? But my perspective and the words I have on this screen are that change begins with passionate people who have a vision, and I have a vision. I'm not going to lecture you about that. We're going to talk about neurodiversity and cyber. So we're going to go into a bit of detail. What's on our track? Well, we're going to talk about neurodiversity. Have I said that about 16 times already?
Maybe 24.
You might hear it about another 300 times.
You're supposed to be taking a shot every time you say this.
Yes.
Oh
my God, you'd be absolutely, totally, scan the room, bollocks. But there we go. Right, okay. We're going to talk about things like recruitment and retention, okay? We're going to talk about culture, and I'm particularly going to talk about the future of work, because I am really passionate about the future of work. And anybody that's talked to me already today will know how passionate I am about the future of work. Young people, Generation Z and Generation Alpha. Okay? So, Emily.
Okay.
The value of neurodiversity in cyber. Tell us more.
So many values. Okay. excuse my notes. I'm sorry if I look down. I'm not so good at memorising things, and this is all very new. Let's consider, first of all, enhanced problem-solving abilities. So, let's just start by saying this isn't a one-size-fits-all. This isn't all autistic people. This isn't all neurodivergent people. But there are people out there that have enhanced problem-solving abilities. They think outside the box. They bring another level of thinking to your team projects. So the more divergent your team is, the more diverse it is, the more you're bringing to the table, the more you're able to problem solve. We could also consider creativity and innovation. People with ADHD can possess a high level of creativity and new ideas all the time, just popping off because that's how their brains work. And a lot of those are also going to be really great for your teams. Let's recognise some special skills and focus. So that hyper focus that ADHD people can get into. Don't know if anyone's got experience of that. That is literally go away, don't talk to me. I'm into this and I'm going to solve it and I'm going to get to it. And it's nothing else is. There's no exteriors to that. I'm just in here.
Mine right now is crochet.
Yeah.
Right? I turned 53 last week, and mine is crochet. Dolly Parton and crochet together. Join them. Intersectionality, you've got it all.
I know when I was doing assignments, I'm a parent to a 12-year-old, although I don't feel like I was while I was doing my assignments. She would come to the room and I would literally hold my hand up because just that, Mummy, no, I can't. I'm into this. I need to finish this paragraph. Please don't talk to me. So yeah, there is this. Let's talk about resilience and adaptability. Neurodivergent people have often had to navigate through life on their terms in a world that does not necessarily fit with how they think. So they find their own way. So they're very resilient. So if there's changes, they're good with that. They can move with that because that's how they've also lived their lives. And adaptability as well. You know, you put yourself in a situation and you have to adapt to the room, don't you? That's kind of how it goes, doesn't it? Beyond their technical contributions, we could also talk about empathy and advocacy for accessibility. That's a big one. How many people on your teams are obsessed with accessibility? Because we should be. That should be a thing. And I think people who have experienced non-accessible softwares are going to be the ones who point that out and say, this isn't working for a certain group of people. The last thing I want to talk about, and this isn't necessarily everyone, as someone with ADHD potentially, I don't like change. When I'm somewhere that I'm comfortable, I'm going to stay there. If I feel like I'm supported, if I feel like the job aligns with my skills and what I can do, even if someone offers me an extra 20 grand a year, I'm going to stay where I am because that's who supported me. That's where I'm comfortable. And it's just easier. It's just easier than moving around, isn't it?
Loyalty.
Yes.
It means a lot. I'm an employer. Loyalty means a lot to me. I'm going to go back for a couple of slides and see if anything came up. Not yet. I may not have worked out the tech properly. Yes, it says start presenting to display the polls results on this slide. Not on an iPad today. So bear with. We'll pick those out later. My turn now to talk about neurodiversity. And I do lots of presentations and workshops, and I can spend about 3 hours just talking about this circle, okay? This circle, I talk about a neurodivergent umbrella, okay? So terminology, neurodiversity, we're all neurodiverse. Neurodiversity is kind of the movement or the thing, okay? Neurodivergent may very well describe people who are not, who may have ways of thinking and processing the world that do not appear to be the social norms. All right. That's the best way that I can think of saying that without upsetting lots of people. Okay. But lots of people think in different ways. By lots of people, around 20% of the population that we know of. But there probably is plenty more that we don't know of yet. Okay. Got some stats coming up for you in a moment. The neurodivergent umbrella. Under that, we have lots of different conditions that I would talk about, and I'll use the word conditions. In medical diagnostic terms, you will see other words that I don't particularly like, but they're there. Things like dyscalculia, dyslexia. We have autism, ADHD, Tourette's. We also have OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder. We have panic disorders. We've even got neurotypicality written in this particular circle. So there's a whole range of different conditions and differences that fall under this world of neurodiversity. But I'm going to play a little game. I want a quiz and a bit of audience participation. So my question is, who do you know and what do they have in common? So on this screen, we have some faces. You can just shout out if you want to. And if you don't want to shout out, it's okay, because I'll give you the answers in a minute, apart from one, because I always forget his name. So who have we got on the screen?
I don't even know who that is. Who's that?
Chris Packham? Yes. The Governess, Anne Hegarty? Anybody else? Elon Musk. I always worry. I wonder whether I should put him in there sometimes, because he doesn't please me quite a lot of the time.
I think a lot of the room would agree with you.
But, we kind of go for it. We might not. A couple of others on there. You've got Holly Smale at the top with blonde hair. So, yep, here. I can't say right or left, because I never know what's your right and what's my left. So I don't say it, I just point. Holly Smale is the author of a book called Geek Girl, and she didn't know she was... I've just almost said what they have in common. You also have the lady with the blonde hair at the bottom is Daryl Hannah. And we have the inventor of Pokemon. And I can never remember his name. And I know it begins with an S.
Steam.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's on the tip of
Yes! I think it's something like Satoshi, but I cannot remember his name. But he created Pokemon.
His last name starts with a H.
There we go.
And that's gonna,
We'll look it up, shout it out in a minute, okay? Go on, Ileana.
Iliana's got it.
Satoshi Tajiri. Although
Satoshi Tajiri. We're going to go with that. Thank you. I knew it was Satoshi.
Moving on.
What do they have in common, guys?
Did just give you the answer.
They're autistic. So they're all autistic. They've all talked about their autism. They've all declared, disclosed, etc., etc. And on this page, who do you know and what do they have in common? Simone Biles?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps? Comedian. Do you know what her name is? Shafi Kastandi, I think it is.
Maybe. Justin Timberlake.
JT, Justin Timberlake. Has anybody said the chef? Heston? Who else have we got?
Nope.
Will.i.am? And did we have the guy next to Simone?
I can't see
Ryan Gosling. What do they have in common? ADHD. Ileana's been to one of my sessions before. Don't cheat. Anybody let her answer anymore? No, please answer. All right, please answer. They've all got ADHD. Any surprises on that? From the choir, I think not. Yeah? But what I'm trying to show is that neurodiversity doesn't have a look, it doesn't have a face, it doesn't have a thing. Yeah? So, who do you know? And what do they have in common?
Tom Cruise.
Jamie Oliver? Yeah? Keira Knightley?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise? Holly Willoughby? Yes, who said it? Maggie? Yes. Dr. Maggie. Or I think she might be Professor. Maggie Adarin Pocock. What do they have in common? Dyslexic. Jamie Oliver, at one point, I think he was the author of the best-selling non-fiction book ever. And he's dyslexic. Just say. Because you can get other people to do stuff.
I was about to say, probably some help with that.
I've been a ghostwriter. I write for other people. So, that's just a bit of, okay, let's boil this down. People look different. There are many people who are celebrities who are very privileged to get to the places that they've got through their talent, through whatever means. But nevertheless, neurodiversity is everywhere. In this room, at least 20% of us will be neurodivergent. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's going to be higher than that in this room because of where we are and what we're talking about. So key statistics, around 1 in 7 of the UK population is neurodivergent, which roughly comes out, in that statistic, I think it's about 15%, but I'm crap at maths, so don't test me on it. Approximately 25% of CEOs are dyslexic. Autistic graduates are twice as likely to be unemployed after 15 months than non-disabled graduates. So we're getting a bit deeper into our statistics now. It's all good fun to think about, oh, these people do this, these people do that. But if autistic graduates are twice as likely to be unemployed than non-disabled graduates, and only 36% finding work in that period, that's a sobering statistic. They're also more likely to be overqualified for the job that they have. Just leaving that there as a sobering statistic. A few other points now. Employers are obliged to put in place reasonable adjustments. I can talk for 3 hours on that topic. All right? You're going to get about 3 seconds. So under the Equality Act 2010, if an employee has a disability, and guess what? Neurodiversity falls under that descriptor or that definition of disability in the Equality Act. You have to put reasonable adjustments in place. Again, I could talk for 3 hours about this. As of October 2023, wait times for NHS ADHD and autism assessments were as long as 8.5 years. Just let that sink in. If you think you've got ADHD and you've asked for an assessment in your GP, you may have to wait up to 8.5 years. If you're employed and your world is falling apart because your ADHD is impacting the way you work and everything about your life, you need support before you get a medical diagnosis. And only 49% of organisations surveyed in this particular survey, and this was from Text Help, state that disability and inclusion policies are important to them.
Should have been an audible gasp, I think.
Shall we try that again?
Yeah.
Only 49% of organisations surveyed state that the disability and inclusion policies are important to them. Thank you. I'm going to briefly go through these because I know we won't have time for it all. Some of the things that happen to neurodivergent employees is they find it difficult to concentrate. They're unable to sit still or feel comfortable, but they're super creative. They're incredible at being able to think creatively. They're good at problem solving. So there's a whole range of different things that neurodivergent people are fantastic at. If you want to know more, I suggest you take a look at City and Guild's Neurodiversity Index for 2024. A brilliant resource. The link is on that page if you want to take a photo. But similarly, just Google it, all right? Neurodiversity Index 2024. You will find it. Emily.
Hello, me again.
A short moment on current challenges in tech and cyber.
Well, I think we could probably all agree that a deficit in employees and future employees is probably a huge problem for tech and cyber. Where does that stem from? Education. Again, probably I could talk about that for a few hours because my dissertation was on it. But the computer science education in this country is not geared to welcoming people into the industry. It's too scary for people. And so it was going to face a huge shortage of, what am I looking for? Workforce.
Talent.
Talent, that's the word, yes. Compounding this issue is not just the curriculums, it's also the teachers. We've got no teachers. No actual qualified computer science teachers. A lot of teachers will take English or maths as their teaching, and then maybe they might do a bit of computing on the side. But during my dissertation, most computing teachers that I met were PE teachers, or they were maths teachers. So you see the problem, yes. Yeah. So again, there's two huge issues. We're not encouraging people into the curriculum, and also we're not teaching them effectively. There's no pedagogies. Am I saying that word?
Yeah.
Right? No pedagogies that I discovered for teaching computer science from a primary school level to secondary school. They have resources coming out of their ears, but they don't actually have any ways of teaching. They're not taught how to teach it. What else? Oh, rapidly evolving threats. I mean, that's obviously the biggest issue, is even if you are learning at university, maybe by the time you get into a job, that's irrelevant now, and now you have to learn all about this. So that's also an issue. Burnout and retention. Anyone relate to that? Yep, there we go. A few people will relate to that. So yeah, we're not really looking after our workforce either. Those are my biggest.
Plenty of challenges.
Do we have any recruiters in here? Excellent. Okay, so huge problems in the recruitment industry. I can speak from experience because I spent 7 to 8 months sending off my CV and trying to get a job as a reskilled person, as a mature person, as someone who'd just come out of university. I was getting absolutely nowhere. Networking events were my saviour, thank you, Ileana, and that's how I got a job. But going the traditional routes, there's so many flaws with it. That's coming from what I would perceive as a neurotypical point of view. Now let's think about it from a neurodivergent point of view. So the wording on a recruitment, on a job, you're talking about must be a good team player, excellent communication skills. These are all vague things that you want people to be able to do, but that's not the strongest point of someone who has autism. They might have the skills and they might be able to outperform anyone in that job, but maybe they're not eloquent. Maybe they are awkward with people. And so when they look at these job descriptions, that's a put off straight away. No, I'm not into talking. And all of that. So there's that. Say that the person ends up actually getting through and sending off their CV, and say they come to an interview. That's hard as well. They might be awkward. They might be withdrawn. It might be very difficult. The eye contact might not be there. And that HR person might be a very neurotypical person who is then demonstrating some unconscious bias because, oh, you're not like me, and I don't think you're going to fit into this team because you're not chatting away with me. But you're missing out on a massive pool of talent if that's going to be your thought process on hiring people. I'm sorry, I've lost my notes. Sorry. That's the interview process. Standardized assessments. All of this. You sometimes have to go through 3 or 4 assessments before you even talk to someone on the phone at this company. There's something wrong with that, right? We're talking about timed assessments. So for anyone who's autistic or ADHD, seeing that clock tick, 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 tick down while you're trying to do an assessment in order to get a job is like heart-wrenching. Your heart is out of your chest. It's not fun. It's like taking an exam. You know what I mean? It's not relaxing. It's not nice. Your skills are there, but you're not able to demonstrate it because you're just watching this clock tick by. And so, yeah, you don't really, yeah. Anyway, that's
only doing that because
we've got to move on.
All right, because of time. Because I've got a clock in front of me. And I'm like, ooh, and the guy who's going to be talking afterwards is in this room, I think. So, or if he's not, I don't know.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. Anyway, right. We talked a little bit about recruitment, a bit about retention. So just thinking about your workplace and your environment, thinking about culture, and one of the most important things I've found in the past 6 years since I've been working in this particular area, line management support. Supporting, training, investing and upskilling your line managers and supervisors so they can support neurodivergent teams. I'm going to give you a little nugget from myself, which is that I truly believe that understanding neurodiversity is the next level in high-performing teams and business performance. So if you think about leadership and management and the things you will have learned at university and business school, I've been there, I've done that, I've lectured in that. Understanding neurodiversity is going to unlock an incredible amount of potential in anybody's teams. But doing it means you need to do this kind of stuff. You need to be thinking about line management. You need to be thinking about how you support individuals to be their best in the workplace. We're going to talk about a few other things now. And there are a whole range of different things that come part and parcel of being neurodivergent, because you ain't just a neurodivergent person. You're not just an autistic person. You're not just a person with ADHD. You're probably going to be a woman. You may be black. And statistics for black women who are autistic, getting a job just it blows your mind, the level of difficulty that it may be, because you have that level of intersectionality in your personality and who you are. I get on my soapbox about this and I sound a bit bossy when I talk about these kind of things. So I'm going to move on. And I'm going to get my crystal ball out. And I've been called a witch at least twice this week because I'm not a witch. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can predict the future. That's something I've been able to do for a number of years. So what about the future? The reason I talk about the future of work, and I alluded to it at the beginning of this section, is the next generation. I can't give you stats on Generation Alpha, but I can talk about Generation Z. Generation Z, or Gen Z, as we might like to call them, because it rolls off the tongue a bit better, born between 1997 and 2012, coming into the workforce. They're in the workforce. There's going to be a hell of a lot more of them in the workforce, 90 million of them. Let me tell you a few things. 53% of Generation Z in a survey, and this came from Text Help, a rather large company, say that they identify as neurodivergent. 53% of Generation Z identify as neurodivergent. Just think about that and why then you need to think about neurodiversity in your hiring policies, in your line management training, in the future of your business.
Just in our policies.
Just in your policies. 76% though, 76% of neurodivergent employees do not disclose at work. So you're in a bit of a rock and a hard place if you employ, because you're going to say, well, they didn't tell me they were autistic. You don't have to. Quality Act 2010, you don't have to tell somebody that you are autistic or that you have ADHD. If they have a suspicion and they know, they need to do something about it. Again, I can talk for 3 hours on that. What does that mean for tech and cyber? I know we're not going to have much time to answer that question because we have to finish in about 4 minutes' time. Maybe even less than 4 minutes. But what does that mean? That means you need to think differently. That means you need to think about how we're going to attract talent for the future. How are you going to engage with schools? How are you going to do things for young people who are coming into companies and coming into the workplace that think and say, and what do you do about neurodiversity? How are you going to support me in my workplace? And if you're a panel member asked that question by a young person, what are you going to think? Just leaving that question there. So, we're going to round up. I've got 3 takeaways, okay? I like my takeaways, although they do look a bit, I'm not really into it. Chinese for me. Takeaway number 1. Promote increased awareness and understanding of neurodiversity. Have people like me and Emily come and talk to you. Come and talk to your teams. Let's talk about it. The more we start the conversation, I promise you, the better it's going to get. Takeaway number 2. Address stigma and promote a healthy workforce. Gen Z want a work-life balance. They want a healthy workforce. They want to work somewhere that aligns with their values and what they think about the world. Promote a healthy workplace. And don't just promote it. Just do it. Just be it. Because we can talk about it, but it's still a bit crap sometimes. Just being honest there. And takeaway number 3. Consider how to engage the next generation and what needs to change in your organisations to engage them. Think about how you're going to get them on board and you're going to keep them because we blooming need them. This is our company, Inclusive Change. You can just Google Inclusive Change, but if you've got one of these, we've actually put our name in it, all right? Okay? So not only is it a little stim, but it's got our name in it. If you want to know more, we do lots of events on the 17th of September. We're online talking about Access to Work, which is a fabulous scheme that lots and lots of people can take part in, funded by the government. Find out more at that one. And if you want a free takeaway, yes, it's a QR code. I haven't got any horrible things in my website, I promise you. You might get some emails from us, automated in a workflow that say, hey, thanks for doing this. Come and join us at something else. But I ask for your email address and you can get a free ebook all about,
Unsubscribe.
yeah, you can, don't tell them they can unsubscribe.
Neurodivergent people.
Yes, you can unsubscribe. Or you can end up like me with 300 emails a day.
That's what I get.
That is the end of our talk. Thank you very much. Thank you, Emily. I apologise that my Slido didn't work, but it's because my battery's nearly dead on my laptop and being a bit ADHD, I forgot to bring my charger. Any questions, if we've got time?
We have.
Okay.
Oh, we've run ahead, so we've got.
I thought we had. Yeah, I thought we had.
I just wanted to ask, I think the workplace are doing more diversity than schools, and how do you capture those people that have fallen out of education?
Oh, we had that chat. Oh, were you listening to us at lunch? How strange. We had that exact conversation.
It's a massive, massive challenge. So capturing young people who are struggling through school. My story is that I have an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old who are both autistic. Both of them have had atypical experiences through school. One left school at 12, and we've been fortunate, so we've been able to do lots of different things. But I experience and see and help, and we support at Inclusive Change lots of people who have had adverse experiences in school. It is really difficult. The only thing I'm going to say, because from experience of working with some different organisations, is that I am starting to see some people wanting to do something about it and make changes in primary school. So I'm seeing changes in primary school, not around computing, but around neurodiversity. Yeah. Secondary schools, there is so much to contend with. There are so many challenges that it is just super difficult for them. And they don't have the knowledge, awareness and understanding. SENDCOs, which is a special educational needs coordinator in a school, get 1 day of training in their teacher training. Teachers get 1 day of training on special educational needs and disabilities in a PGCE. 1 day. Right? They might get a week where they have to do a project and follow somebody around. It's not enough, because in every classroom you have 30 odd children, and every single one of them will have different needs. And I would hazard a guess that probably 50% of them will have neurodivergence. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox again. But Elaine, yes.
I was going to say, speak to it, because we're together trying to solve this problem.
Yeah. If you want to speak to me after, we'll go outside and we'll be sat outside and we can talk about creating a coalition that can come together and make change in school and in employment. But we want employers to get on board, because if employers don't start to open the doors and realise how they can be more neurodivergent friendly, we can tell as many kids as possible, you can do everything you want, my darling, right? You can be anything you want to be. But they walk into an employer and they break down or burn out within a couple of weeks because they've not been supported, and it doesn't make the right sense.
Question to the room as well. I get a lot of young people come to me and say, should we disclose our neurodiversity to employers?
That's a really difficult one. It's a really difficult one, and I can't answer it in the minutes that we got left. But
I have one question. How have you considered the element of shame for those of us who grew up
yes,
with neurodiversity, who did not get diagnosed until 100 years later, and suddenly your entire life of struggle makes
Yep.
sense because
yes,
I say this with love. You were a weirdo, and you were working through.
everything.
I thought I was just unique growing
No,
up. I
we
thought
were
I was
weirdos
just a
this
little bit
time.
odd, and then I read
I won't
and
answer
realised
it,
I'm
right.
not unique.
I won't answer it right here and now because I know we have one more question. However,
We've got 3 minutes. It's fine.
that's all right then. However, we run a support agency. So as part of Inclusive Change, we run a support agency where we work with autistic, ADHD, dyslexic adults in the workplace. We use Access to Work as the process of doing that. And most of our clients have trauma from late diagnosis and not being understood as children and teenagers. And it is super, super heartbreaking. And the reason I do this is that I don't want the next generation to have to go through exactly what you've gone through. And I'm very, very sorry. But
It's fine. If you'd like a longer waiting list.
Yeah. Come see us.
No.
Come see us. I'm going to ask this chap.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
My question is, acknowledging that neurodiversity and members with disability.
Yep.
What is the one quick win that I can do in my workplace that's not going to shame somebody?
Talk about it. What are you going to say?
Write it into your policies. Have policies for neurodivergent employees. There's a lot of businesses don't. Lucy can talk about all of that.
No,
I
that's fine.
don't know what.
Policy.
Yeah.
But I'll give you one tip that you can do after this session. Is you go back to your team and you go, hey, I went to this talk about neurodiversity. Wow, totally opened my mind. Let's see where the conversation goes. That's a really simple one, but it won't fix everything for everyone because a lot of people still won't come forward. Okay. Yes.
Great talk, first of all.
Thank you.
Looking at the NHS waiting lists, like 8.5 years, how do you think that affects people? Like some organisations might not do anything until they've got diagnosis.
Mental health,
How do you do that?
burnout, complaints, grievances, all happening in the workplace. You do not need a diagnosis to get support through Access to Work. So if anybody in this room is waiting for a diagnosis and are thinking, how can I get some help? Because even when you get a diagnosis, there ain't no magic wand, all right? They go, here you go. Do you want medication if you have ADHD? Here you go. You're autistic. Bye then. But you can use things like access to work, and you don't need a diagnosis. It will be based upon the way you present and the way in which you might find difficulties in the workplace. We've got to stop. Sorry. Sorry.
And you don't have to have a diagnosis for your work to legally be required to help you.
Yeah.
Under that
With
disability
your
law,
reasonable
there is
adjustments.
no form
Come to our Access to Work webinar. Find us online. Come to some of our webinars. We do a lot of free stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
If you want to talk about waiting lists, I've been on a waiting list.
Welcome to my pain point. You don't have to have that.